will make a lot of money if you're successful. But there's this thing that people have where they see a guy like Floyd Mayweather and they say, well, hey, boxers make millions of dollars. Look, Floyd Mayweather made hundreds of millions of dollars. No. But guarantee you, he ain't making very good money.
That was kind of bothersome. My only question to him would be, where's your soul? It is true.
In a startling turn, two of the most influential voices in sports and media, podcaster Joe Rogan and commentator Stephen A. Smith, have reportedly leveled accusations against Floyd Mayweather Jr., alleging that the undefeated boxing legend orchestrated a sprawling $42 million fraud scheme, manipulated public perception of his wealth, and concealed assets in offshore entities. According to Rogan, an extensive financial analysis reveals that Mayweather channeled millions through shell companies set up in the Caribbean and the British Virgin Islands and infrastructure designed to siphon fight purses, endorsement fees, and licensing revenues away from legitimate stakeholders and tax authorities. Smith has echoed these charges, referencing purportedly unsealed court documents that name Mayweather as the mastermind behind transactions structured to misrepresent the true source and destination of funds, effectively defrauding promoters, investors, and even members of his own inner circle. Rogan's investigation points to a trove of bank records and corporate filings showing that, over the last decade, Mayweather diverted nearly $500 million through a web of trusts and limited liability companies registered in jurisdictions known for lax disclosure requirements. Those entities allegedly purchased luxury real estate in Miami and Beverly Hills under assumed names, obscuring actual ownership and facilitating the transfer of fight proceeds without triggering reporting thresholds. Rogan asserts that private equity firms once pledged minimum guarantees for Mayweather's headlining events, commonly advertised as $100 million fights, only to discover upon audit that far less money reached the theaters and pay-per-view distributors, with the balance quietly routed to offshore accounts.
After not reading the SEC settlement. So maybe that's why he tells us we can't lose by betting on it. So let's put that to the test with his last 3 NFT projects.
I'm dropping my NFT tonight.
FloydNFT.com, August 10th. Go get it right now. Matter of fact, don't even wait till August 10th. Get it now. My NFT. Own a piece of my legacy. Floyd Money Mayweather.
I'm not just in 30% or 40%, full 100%. I'm all the way in.
Now, Floyd's World was indeed a huge success for Floyd Mayweather, who raked in $4.9 million. But what happened to his fans? Well, they're furious because the price of this NFT has collapsed over 90%, and they angrily responded in the comment section, "You already have an NFT project. It's called @RealFloydNFT."
Smith, for his part, highlights exchanges between Mayweather and high-ranking executives at major pay-per-view platforms in which the boxer purportedly instructed his advisors to underreport official gate figures by as much as 30%, even as he publicly boasted of gate receipts exceeding $20 million per night. Those underreported sums, Smith contends, allowed Mayweather to minimize his taxable income and avoid revenue share obligations to promoters like Golden Boy and Showtime. He further alleges that Mayweather leveraged his reputation for financial invincibility to extract sovereign immunity clauses in fight contracts, a legal tactic meant to shield certain assets from creditors and litigation, even in cases where he was sued for breach of contract or unpaid fees by former sparring partners and choreographers. Neither Rogan nor Smith provides direct excerpts of these court documents, but both claim to have received them from insiders within federal investigative agencies. Their joint conclusion is that Mayweather's financial empire, branded the Money Team, is built less on legitimate prize purses and endorsements than on a carefully constructed house of cards, one that begins to crumble under forensic scrutiny. They argue that the true scope of the alleged fraud dwarfs the $42 million figure. That number, they say, represents only the transactions flagged by overseas financial intelligence units, with an additional $150 million in suspicious cash flows still under review by U.S. authorities.
All right, now Floyd Mayweather Jr., there's a story circulating that Business Insider did talking about this $400 million property deal that he had been discussing here in New York City. But now, according to Business Insider, it's not what you think it is. They said there's no evidence there's been a sale of these properties, and it's 62 rental apartment buildings in Upper Manhattan. Here is what Floyd Mayweather had said at the time on a video that he posted on his Instagram.
I love bringing the people into my lifestyle, showing the people how I live. Now, I know you guys see me on a regular talking about real estate. Well, lately, I purchased 62 apartment buildings in New York City. And what I need you guys to do, slide over and check out the photos. It's not all 62 buildings. It's a few buildings, but guess what? All the buildings belong to me. I don't have no partners. And all the retail down low on my buildings all belong to me. Guess what? You can do the same.
All right. Well, now we're trying to figure out what happened, right, with Business Insider. So according to another update, he did ink a $402 million deal for a Black Spruce portfolio. When he said that it was all his and no one invested, he meant no one was funding his part of the investment but him. And so I think this is something where maybe he owns a piece of this or shares in it, but it hasn't changed hands because the majority owner is still the same owner that it was before. I'm trying to understand what happened with this, but I know there's a story that's circulating, so just putting it out there. Whew, it's a tough one. I'm trying to understand as a real estate person myself what exactly he is communicating when he's saying that he owns this, because they're trying to make it seem like he doesn't, but what it seems like is that he owns shares of these buildings.
In setting these claims against the known facts, the only substantiated case involving Mayweather's post-boxing ventures is his settlement with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission in November 2018 over his promotion of Centra's initial coin offering. The SEC found that he failed to disclose a $100,000 payment from Centra Tech and additional sums from two other ICOs, resulting in a combined disgorgement and penalty of $614,775 and a 3-year ban on securities promotion. That order, though serious, differs fundamentally from the alleged $42 million fraud. It was a disclosure violation, not a sprawling conspiracy involving shell corporations and misappropriated fight revenues. Beyond the SEC action, federal prosecutors in New York indicted Centra Tech's co-founders in May 2018 for securities and wire fraud in raising more than $25 million through false partnership claims with Visa and MasterCard, claims that Mayweather's social media promotions had bolstered. Those defendants pleaded guilty and received prison sentences. While Mayweather, though not charged criminally, agreed to pay fines and to cease promotions for 3 years, an outcome that shows the divide between a civil enforcement action and the criminal conspiracy Rogan and Smith allege. Rogan has further questioned the authenticity of Mayweather's publicly aired net worth statements, challenging Forbes's repeated valuation of his fortune at around $400 million. According to bank statements Rogan reviewed, Mayweather's liquid assets never approached that sum. Instead, the majority resided in trust accounts inaccessible to creditors and subject to internal penalties if withdrawn prematurely. Rogan contends those trusts are controlled by a network of lawyers and accountants who answer only to Mayweather's inner sanctum, rendering the boxer's wealth overhyped and effectively untouchable by government authorities or private litigants. Smith has gone so far as to describe Mayweather's financial reporting as creative accounting at its worst, likening it to schemes once favored by Enron executives, who gamed energy markets by creating opaque entities and off-balance sheet liabilities. He notes that some of Mayweather's most lucrative endorsement deals, valued at tens of millions, appear on record as fee-for-service arrangements with no clear end client, a red flag that suggests the deals were conduits for fund transfers rather than genuine marketing partnerships. Amid these allegations, questions arise about why no criminal charges have materialized against Mayweather if the $42 million fraud is real. Rogan and Smith offer two explanations. First, that the boxer's team has successfully lobbied prosecutors for a preemptive immunity agreement in exchange for cooperation on unrelated matters. Second, that the complexity of unraveling decades-old international transactions has stalled official inquiries despite clear evidence of wrongdoing. They assert that a high-level Justice Department source confirmed that an indictment was ready last summer but was held up by political considerations tied to Mayweather's celebrity status. Critics of Rogan and Smith's narrative point out that neither has legal credentials to analyze intricate financial records and no judge has yet validated the existence of a $42 million scheme by Mayweather. Detractors note that podcast soundbites and TV monologues intended for entertainment do not constitute evidence admissible in court. Yet Rogan maintains that the involvement of multiple forensic accountants and whistleblowers lends credibility to his account, while Smith insists on the veracity of the leaked court documents he's seen. Ultimately, the only publicly documented controversy tying Mayweather to financial misconduct remains the SEC's settlement over his non-disclosure of paid cryptocurrency promotions and his indirect connection to the Centra Tech fraud prosecuted in federal court. That matter, while noteworthy, pales in comparison to the sprawling conspiracy alleged by Rogan and Smith. If their claims hold true, they would redefine the narrative of Mayweather's career from an unmatched pugilist to an architect of one of the largest celebrity scams in history. Rogan and Smith have undeniably drawn attention to the need for greater transparency in how high-profile athletes manage vast sums of money. The challenge now is for independent investigators or official agencies to pierce the veil of corporate secrecy and determine whether Floyd Mayweather is truly the money team architect of a massive fraud or whether he is instead the victim of a coordinated campaign of rumor, innuendo, and sensationalism. However, in recent years, a diverse cast of boxing insiders and celebrities, from Gervonta Davis and International Boxing Hall of Famer Rick Glazer to rapper 50 Cent, MMA superstar Conor McGregor, and internet personality Logan Paul, have publicly pointed to Floyd Mayweather's financial vulnerabilities. Their revelations range from alleged unpaid debts in Dubai and multi-million-dollar promissory notes to IRS tax liens and thwarted gambling wagers, painting a stark contrast between Mayweather's ostentatious public image and the complex reality of managing nine-figure earnings across global jurisdictions. Gervonta Davis, once Mayweather's protege, asserted on Instagram that Mayweather was effectively stuck in Dubai because he had borrowed money and failed to deliver on promised services, claiming he'd been taking people's money and not doing what they paid him to do. Davis later doubled down on X, challenging Mayweather to go live if he disputed the debt, insisting he got to pay them people that money back. Rick Glazer, an International Boxing Hall of Fame elector, lent further credibility to these rumors by tweeting that his contacts in Dubai confirmed Mayweather was definitely being held by the government court system there as he owed a substantial amount of money, emphasizing that authorities in the emirate take indebtedness very seriously. Conor McGregor used a major press conference in July 2017 to jab at Mayweather's tax burdens, noting that much of Mayweather's nine-figure check would be earmarked to settle an eight-figure debt to the IRS. That quip referred to a federal tax lien filed in April 2017 showing Mayweather still owed $22.2 million for unpaid 2015 taxes, a debt he unsuccessfully petitioned to pay in installments until after his McGregor payday. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson has been outspoken about business dealings with Mayweather dating back to 2012 when he fronted $2 million to launch Mayweather's TMT Promotions company and claims he was never repaid. More recently, 50 Cent publicly backed Davis's Dubai debt allegations on Instagram, writing, "I got some money if he needs it," a remark both supportive and insinuating that Mayweather's financial woes are real. YouTuber-turned-boxer Logan Paul announced his intention to sue Mayweather in early 2024, alleging approximately $5 million still owed from their June 2021 exhibition bout. Showtime later clarified it had paid Mayweather Promotions in full, suggesting any shortfall lay with Mayweather's own company. Federal court documents dating back to 2001 show Mayweather faced multiple IRS liens totaling over $26 million across several tax years, with Mayweather's legal filings arguing that while he was asset-rich, cash was tied up in fight purses and endorsements. In a rare glimpse into his gambling habits, Mayweather admitted he attempted to place a $400,000 bet on himself before his 2017 fight with McGregor, only to be denied by the sportsbook due to regulatory concerns, showing both his penchant for high-stakes wagers and the complications that can arise when athletes try to bet on their own matches. However, Floyd Mayweather's extravagant expenditures at his 2024 Super Bowl attendance were shocking. Money lived up to his name, filming a bank visit alongside his entourage as they hauled out bags stuffed with thick stacks of cash. "Just getting ready, Super Bowl weekend in Las Vegas, we had to get the ones, make it rain. Check it out," Mayweather says to the camera as he gestures to his crew carrying the piles of cash. The YouTube clip shared by All Urban Central shows the boxing legend dropping serious cash at Louis Vuitton before offering an in-depth look at a portion of his watch collection valued at an estimated $100 million. Under it, he discloses that under some situations, he travels with a high-end watch every day. The undefeated legend wasn't about to miss the historic first Super Bowl in Sin City, where the Kansas City Chiefs faced off against the San Francisco 49ers. At a startling $1.13 million, he reserved a luxurious suite at Allegiant Stadium. "I don't kiss, and I never have to beg for nothing, especially not to get a Super Bowl suite," he wrote on Instagram. He added, "I don't mind accepting invites at times, but one thing's for sure, the person that's paying does all the saying. Therefore, I get my own seats and suites so I can do what I want and invite who I want. I'm blessed to be taking 34 people to experience the first Super Bowl in Las Vegas." In 2023, Mayweather participated in exhibition bouts against John Gotti III and Aaron Chalmers. Even while it was a far cry from his heyday, he still owed a hefty $18 million in taxes. Just before I paid that light million and change for that little Super Bowl stuff, I had to pay the IRS aka Uncle Sam $18,047,181, he shared on Instagram. He added, "This is what I owed in taxes while I'm retired." So just imagine what I was paying when I was activated. Mayweather is accustomed to wagering because he lives in Vegas, and after placing a sizable bet, money recovered a portion of his expenditure. He wagered $95,000 on the Chiefs to win, and their victory in overtime earned him $23,000. After losing to Patrick Mahomes and placing a $10,000 wager on the Philadelphia Eagles to win in 2023, Mayweather obviously learned his lesson. Meanwhile, previous reports stated that Floyd Mayweather has decided not to contest an IRS assessment of $5,549,675 in taxes and a $119,935 accuracy-related penalty for the 2017 tax year. While $6.7 million is a fortune to most of us, for Mayweather it might barely register. If the IRS audits your return, you might eventually find yourself at an impasse. At that point, the IRS will issue a statutory notice of deficiency, often called a 90-day letter. That name isn't just a formality, it marks the 90-day window you have to file a petition with the tax court. Miss it, and you're out of options. So it's a deadline you don't want to mess with. The tax court isn't the only way to challenge the IRS in court, but the alternatives require you to pay the tax upfront and then sue for a refund. That's why most people turn to tax court first. The audit of Mayweather's 2017 return concluded with the issuance of an SOD on February 2, 2022. The deadline for filing the petition, as stated in the SOD, was May 3, 2022. The only change was the disallowance of a $1,414,220 legal expense deduction from an S-corporation. While there could be an intriguing story behind it, the document doesn't provide any insight. The calculations that led to a $5,549,675 deficiency are entirely redacted. As a result, we're left in the dark about the individual's taxable income prior to the $14 million increase or the tax amount before it surged by $5.5 million.
People executing these scams are like Anon people hiding behind a Pepe avatar. And of course, there's a laundry list of famous influencers, Logan Paul, Kim Kardashian's David Dobrik, that have all endorsed these absolute shitcoin scam casino rugs that leaves their investors high and dry because they paid them a bunch of money up front and maybe they didn't know any better because it's such a nascent space. But I am just flabbergasted that the highest paid boxer, one of the most famous people on the planet, Floyd Mayweather, has managed to become a repeat offender as a scam artist. Now everybody knows Floyd's an opportunist. He's an entrepreneur. He likes to make money. He always has money, talks about money. That's his shtick. That's his persona. That's fine. You can make money. You can be a hustler. You can get paid a bunch to box, do whatever you want.
The tax court got the petition on May 2, 2022, which is closer than I prefer to cut things. The petition was dated April 27, 2022. The petition appears to be quite basic, which is surprising. Taxpayer contests the auditor's $5,549,675 assessment resulting from the auditor's disallowance of a business deduction claimed by taxpayer in the 2017 tax year and hereby petitions the Honorable United States Tax Court for a redetermination and finding that expenses claimed were deductible as ordinary and necessary business expenses in the 2017 tax year. The taxpayer also contests the Section 6662A accuracy-related penalties assessed in the amount of $119,935 and petitions the Honorable Court for a redetermination and an abatement of such penalties. There is a bit more in an attachment. The taxpayer contests the disallowance of a deduction in the 2017 tax year as stated in the Notice of Deficiency. The taxpayer was involved in multi-year business litigation and incurred business expenses related to such litigation. The taxpayer deducted the expense in the 2017 tax year and should be allowed a deduction under IRC Section 162A as ordinary and necessary business expenses. As we scroll through the coming attractions, we notice Floyd J. Mayweather, docket number 103-5322, filed January 11, 2023. Although Floyd Mayweather had previously claimed that pay-per-view issues prevented him from fully compensating YouTuber Logan Paul, Showtime, the company responsible for the exhibition match held in June 2021, has now distanced itself from the situation.
In 36 months, with one of my new investments, I would be making $300 million a month.
What investment is that?
In real estate. I'm heavy in real estate, even though I got a lot of cash. OPM. You don't always have to use your money. That's why it's very important for y'all to make sure y'all keep your credit right.
Stephen Espinoza, the president of the company overseeing the fight, confirmed that payment had already been made to Mayweather Promotions. He stated that it was now their responsibility to distribute the funds between the two boxers. He added, "We haven't really gotten in the way. You know, our deal is with Mayweather Promotions, and then maybe his promotions disperse the money. You know, obviously we deal with one of the promoters. We don't have separate deals with each of them, so I can only say at what point he says yes, there's some delay in the pay-per-view." He further added, "I mean, there's just a pretty significant chunk of money that, you know, is going out now. So if anything, I would be surprised if that wasn't the case. I think it's just a misunderstanding about how long it takes for the money to come out sometimes." Despite Mayweather's request for the 27-year-old to be patient, he has already sent a stern warning, indicating his readiness to sue the American Boxers Company for an outstanding debt of roughly $3 million. "He hasn't paid me yet. It's too late to negotiate. This is settled in court," he told TMZ Sports a few months ago, even threatening to put him in jail if he doesn't want to pay the money he owes him from the proceeds of the exhibition fight. Meanwhile, ESPN analyst Stephen A. Smith offered a wider viewpoint, exploring the impact of Mayweather's image on the younger generation. He pointed out that today's athletes don't idolize Mayweather for his boxing skills but for his wealth. They mimic his persona, confidence, and showmanship rather than his discipline or commitment to the sport.
They sold for millions of dollars. I know a dude who he got rich. He was an artist.
Yeah, but
he got
then,
rich selling NFTs. Yeah. In the beginning, when everyone was like frothy with it, this thing is like a shit cartoon. And how much did they go for?
I think it's Ether. So 111 Ether would be the price. That's 3,000 a coin right now. So it'd be 300 grand.
300 grand.
It said it was sold at 769.
But you could just screenshot it.
So it was sold at 769. So it's sold at close to $1 million.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more exciting videos, make sure to hit the bell icon and stay updated. Subscribe to Boxing Hub now for all the latest in boxing.